Okay, so hi, my name's Kristen Schulte. I'm your lab instructor for natural history. Our class will be entirely online, and then I'll go through, some requirements of the course. I'll go through the syllabus, how to access the material, how to contact me. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so some background info on me so you can get to know me better, like we're talking in person in a class. I'm a Sac City transfer student. I started Sac City in 2009. I wanted to be a fashion journalism major and transfer to somewhere in San Francisco and, make plans and God laughs. So I transferred to Sac State when my son was 9 months old, 8 months old, and got my bachelor's and master's there in biology for both of them. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I have a daughter, Alice, and a son, Asa. I have ADHD, and so do my children. So, a lot of the times when I'm recording these lectures, they won't remember that I'm recording and they'll come up and talk to me. I have a hypermobile disorder, which sometimes can make biology field work or desk work a pain, literally, just to let you know that I'm dealing with some things on my end. I'm sure you are as well. Life can be hard. And then I'll talk to you more about ringtails on the next slide. So I got my master's degree. Oh, and you'll also notice I say so a lot when I start my slides. I'm just not great at recording lectures. I got my master's degree and did my thesis work on ringtails, which is this animal. You'll hear me talk about them a lot. They're a relative of the raccoon, native to California and fully protected here. So I did some genetics work on them for my master's, and I continue to study them. My website is calringtails.org if you want to learn more. Always happy to talk ringtails. So I've got to hold little tiny babies. I've done work with museums and the bones that are there from over 100 years. I live trap individuals. I've set up hair snares, which is the picture at the top, and then me on the right pulling the little gun brush out of the snare that has hair wrapped around it, and I've done that for genetics work, and I'm continuing that throughout the state. So this is the course description that has been submitted and approved in the college. So this is like an official contract of what you will be learning in this course. This course is a survey of ecosystems in California with a special emphasis on the relationships between the species and general ecological concepts. Students will explore the environment and diversity of organisms occurring in our geographical area, but will be able to apply this knowledge to other areas as well. Meaning, if we teach you about basic ecological concepts and when you grow up you really want to study in Iowa, this is like foundational knowledge. It's not California specific. There are some species ID that will be California specific, but the main concepts will be able to go anywhere around the world. This course is designed for the non-science major, but is also valuable for science majors and is a core requirement course for the field ecology program. So for those of you that don't know, we have something called the Field Ecology Certificate that we offer at Sac City College. You take a certain number of courses and you get the certificate that's very helpful for jobs throughout our state, actually. Working with Fish and Wildlife or the Department of Water Resources, things like that. We've had students go in all kinds of fields, private, public sectors, very cool, global, just very, very cool program. Happy to talk more about that if you're interested. My office hours, the best way to visit me is to make a Zoom appointment so we can talk one-on-one instead of me opening up a Zoom for office hours and everybody having to queue up and wait. So just email me and we'll schedule a Zoom that works for you. Necessary course supplies. You need to have access to a computer and tablet with internet connection. That's how you're seeing me now, but I still have to say that. If for some reason something happens and you need a computer, you can rent them through the school library, and I have information on that in campus. Additionally, the only book that you need to purchase for my lab is something called the Pacific Coast Tree Finder. They should be available at the school library. They're also available. I should always have one here. Why do I never do that? Let me grab one. Okay, you get to see my ugly curtains that came with my house that I haven't updated yet. So this is what the Pacific Coast Tree Finder looks like, brand new. It's $5.95, but you can get very old copies of them for much cheaper. However, it's like if you look right here, it says Northern California Black Walnut. As far as I know, it's always been called Northern California Black Walnut. But sometimes species names have changed over time, or the scientific name has changed over time as genetics work has put species, in the same genus or things like that, or separated them. We'll talk about that later. So there might be some errors, but it'll never be too off base if you get an older copy. Additionally, I will post an online version that you can access using your school information, like a library card. But you can't take that into the field. I mean, maybe if you find a way to download it or save it to your phone. But the reason is you need to be able to use this for a quiz. That if you are using the internet, you're essentially, I could think that you're cheating because I don't know what you're accessing. Maybe I'll try and find a way to make that available during the quiz. I just really don't know how to do that yet. So I need you to buy this book. I need you to buy this book. So just like the course description, these student learning outcomes, or SLOs, are something that we have to write and make a contract through the district, basically, that this is what you will be learning. These are the outcomes that you can expect through taking this class. So this isn't a me specific thing. This is through the department and the district, the school district. Demonstrate an understanding of the various ecosystems of California, examine the many different relationships between species, apply general ecological concepts, incorporate the principles of natural selection in understanding relationships between a species, adaptations, and its environment, recognize in the field several common species of plants and animals of California. And this specifically has to do with your semester project that I'll talk to you more about. Assess the importance of biodiversity to ecosystem health, record observations on adaptations and ecology in natural environments, discover and explain the importance of biodiversity to the maintenance of healthy ecosystems. So I run this course asynchronously. And as opposed to an official asynchronous course, I don't just post everything at the beginning of the semester and you do it whenever you can and submit it and you could get this whole course done in a week or whatever. How I run this course is I make a promise to you that I will post everything by Monday unless there's some unforeseen circumstance like my arm falls off or I lose internet connectivity. So I will post everything on Mondays. You have the week to do it. Whenever that is best for you, great. If you, were expecting to always do this course Tuesdays at 1 because that's what the catalog said, and that's when great, whatever works for you. If you signed up for a class that's Tuesday at 1, but you actually have, work you have to get to Tuesday at 4 p.m., and it's better for your mental health to take some downtime before you have to go to work, but then you could do everything Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever works. Just do your work. And so I post everything on Monday. The modules, specifically the quizzes, are due Sunday at 11:59 p.m. The discussions, your very first posting will be due Friday at 11:59 p.m. After that, it's late, and then it's completely due, like your first posting and your replies, by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. To go over that again. Post things on Monday, everything is due by Sunday. But if your discussion is a multiple parter, part is due on Friday, part is due on Sunday. Normally, when you have a lab class, and in the olden times, you would take your lab notebook that you would have to buy through the school. Here's mine. I keep it in a binder. And you go to lab, and each week you do whatever assignment is in there, you tear it out, you turn it in. That's how it works. To make this course more equitable, we will be posting each week's worksheets. We will not be requiring you to have to purchase them. We used to have you purchase them through the bookstore, and now we don't. You will be submitting these lab worksheets to me every Sunday by 11:59 p.m., just like I said for the discussions and quizzes on the last slide. The lab worksheets are your study guide for your quizzes. So I want you to either print them out if you have the ability to do so, or to write the questions on like notebook paper and answer them. I don't need you to submit this perfect lab worksheet that you had, the money, the ink, the printer, whatever to print out. But you do have to submit the notes and things that you have taken weekly. Additionally, they need to be a paper copy that you can hold. If you write this on a Burger King napkin, that works for me. I don't care. But the reason that I need you to have it as something you can hold is because I allow you to use it open note for your quizzes. If you have it on your computer and you have to toggle back and forth, the quiz screen tells me that you're leaving the quiz, and it's essentially like taking a quiz in person and getting up and leaving. That we count as cheating. Not only me. This is like, we talk about this in the bio department. I am okay if you have a piece of paper and you wrote everything down, and when you're taking your quiz, you're like, oh, how many antennae are on an arthropod, specifically an insect? Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, good. But if you're going internet browser, whatever, how many antennae do an insect have? Okay, so you have open note quizzes as long as it is something that you can hold in your hand and you are not jumping all over the internet. Because I have limited capabilities as an online instructor to see what you're working on while you're taking your quiz. And if HonorLock and Canvas just says like, whoa, you left the quiz screen, I'm going to assume you're cheating. And unfortunately, I have to because most people do. And we're really trying to crack down on it. Okay, so that's the lab manual worksheet section. So we have weekly quizzes. Once you start the quiz in Canvas, you have 20 minutes to take it. However, I allow you to have multiple retakes. Take it as many times as you want. Get the best grade. Everybody should be able to get A pluses. We don't allow for pluses at Sac City. A's in this class. Again, it's open note, but only if you have notes in your hand. You can't jump around windows. We can see when you switch windows. Every time you leave the quiz screen, it results in a 0.5 point deduction off your score for the first 3 quizzes. The remaining quizzes will have a 1 point deduction for each screen deviation. People have failed this class just because of that. Their worksheets might be great, their discussions might be great, and then every time they take the quiz, they're just like cheating, and they're losing all these points, and they keep doing it because they think they're not going to get caught, and I'm grading it, and I'm telling them like, hey, you're losing points, and they ignore me, and then they fail. Don't jump all around when you're supposed to be focusing on the quiz. Like I said, open note, multiple retakes, and your 2 lowest scores are dropped. You should be like, getting an A in this class. Each week, except for 2, when you have a worksheet, like a special assignment due instead of a discussion post, you will have a discussion post. Each week, a new discussion topic will open. It closes before the next class session, meaning I close it on Sundays. You have a main post and typically 2 replies. Sometimes if I ask you to do like a really intense main post, you only have 1 reply, or sometimes no replies at all. Your main post will be due by Friday, your replies due by Sunday. In case there's no replies, then the main post is due by Sunday. And again, your 2 lowest scores will be dropped. No plagiarism. This needs to be you having a discussion like, hey, I heard about, the riparian brush rabbit and blah, 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 blah. Not like copy paste about the riparian brush rabbit. I can Google. So can your classmates. We want you to actually like put this into your own words, talk about what you thought was cool, you know, what you learned about it, rephrase some things if you're using a source, etc. But don't just copy and paste off the internet. The drop deadline I have posted in your syllabus, on Canvas, in the schedule. Maybe not the syllabus, maybe the schedule. I have it all over the place so that you know when you can drop and get your money back, or drop and just get a withdrawal instead of an F. But there are no retroactive withdrawals. You can't stop showing up in February and then email me in April and be like, oops, I meant to drop or withdraw and I didn't. And now I have an F. I can't go back and change that for you. Again, also, there are rules for incompletes. Every semester, I have someone who disappears despite my emails or whatever. And then they go, oh, can I get an incomplete? You know, my grandpa was sick. I can't give you an incomplete unless you've turned in 75% of the material and are passing. So if you're failing or you've turned in less than 75%, I can't give you an incomplete. I'm just like not allowed to. So don't ask. And then don't plagiarize, don't cheat. Obviously, I keep saying this over and over.